It's time for our review of Obsession here on the Filmcast. I'm going to read the plot summary from IMDb. After breaking the mysterious One Wish Willow to win his crush's heart, a hopeless romantic finds himself getting exactly what he asked for, but soon discovers that some desires come at a dark, sinister price. End quote. Devindra Hardwar, let's start with you. What did you think of Curry Barker's Obsession?
I think this is as close to perfect as a horror thriller can be. I love this movie. It's a great concept. The idea, talk about Twilight Zone, by the way, like it's very Twilight Zone-y sort of premise of like, oh, your greatest wish can come true, but not in the way you expect, or bad things will happen. It dives into something that also I think we can all kind of relate to, that sense of being that lovelorn person who's like, I really like this person. I wish they could just like me back. I wish they could just like me back. It is such a relatable thing, but it also goes so far. It reminds me a bit of like A Promising Young Woman, in that it is also very much about the sort of like the evil, the banal evil of nice guys, basically. Like somebody who thinks they're a good guy, and through all respects, they kind of are, except until maybe they're pushed to a point where like things go bad and they're revealed not to be. I found that like I can't stop thinking about this movie, just like how well constructed it is. The lead performances, but especially Indy Navarrete, like she is incredible in this movie. Like the sort of like way she vacillates from being like a manic pixie dream girl to demon, like a straight up like horror, a monster at times.
Whatever the opposite of a manic pixie dream
it
girl
is. It is. This movie knows what it's doing. Like when it's having a character do that in a way, and this is such like a playful use of that tone. And also, despite the horror, like despite how bad it gets really intense and really insane. This movie is funny. Like it's funny in a way, like there's an underlying current of dark comedy through this movie that even hits like in the last act after things have gone to shit. And it reminds me of like things, we've talked about, I keep bringing up a movie like Bring Her Back, which is a great horror premise. But the more I think about movies like that, the ones that just like revel in the sort of like misery of it all, and like never have a moment to sort of like, I don't know, be playful or anything. I vastly prefer horror movies like this, like ones that can get a little crazy and get a little intense, but hit real hard in many ways, and also do it with a smile on its face. This is a wonderful juggling of tones in this movie, and yeah, this is horror that goes hard. This is this year's Weapons in more ways than one, right? I'll talk about this in spoilers, but it's funny like what a cinematic universe is being created here.
Jeff Kanata, your thoughts on Obsession?
Well, Dave, I guess you could say my thoughts on Obsession are best summed up in the form of a limerick.
Let's hear it, Jeff.
I know it can be quite frustrating as a dude who is self-deprecating to express yourself without any help. But come on, dude, that's just dating.
Nice.
I mean, I guess it doesn't really sum up my thoughts at all, but still, that's the limerick I wanted to write.
Yeah, there was a little false advertising at the beginning of that one.
I also think this movie is pretty awesome. I have one big major gripe that I want to get to at spoilers, but mostly I feel very positive about it. And you're right, Devindra, Indy Navarrete this is like a star turn for her.
Incredible.
It is. Yes. Like going to catapult her into the next echelon of something. I mean, she's amazing in it. And I think Michael Johnston is really good too. Mm-hmm. These are really very subtle, beautiful performances. The very unlike the kind of, low budge horror movie performance that you may think of in your head as being mm-hmm. a little over the top or a little cheesy. Like this is like a real relationship, like grounded, indie relationship movie that just happens to get real fucked up. But I still prefer Companion from a couple years ago mm-hmm. To this, which I think treads on similar themes. And the reason why I prefer that movie, I think I'll have to get to it at spoilers, but I think this movie does a lot of things really well. It is, like you said, Devindra, you immediately, maybe we should have had a woman on to discuss this movie. It is a very interesting construct, this film, because it is told very much from the perspective of the young man in this situation. And therefore, as someone who lived through this and was a product of that John Hughes generation, where I genuinely thought, you're not supposed to tell the girl you like her. You're just supposed to be there and tell her you're friends. And then one day she'll realize you were the one. Like, we were lied to in the 80s,
Yeah.
And, I very much related to this dude very early on in the movie. She's like, do you like me? And he's like, oh, no, we're friends, And it's like, I did that stupid stuff. And I very much related to it. But where this movie is an interesting construct is the real horror of this movie is happening to the girl. But we are not inside her experience at all. We are external to it. And everything is filtered through the dude's experience. So it's this kind of weird, like inside out, strange structure where, like, I actually am more sympathetic to the horrors that are happening to Nikki in this movie, but she's also the antagonist, So it is, I think it's doing some interesting things. I wish it went farther. I mean, a lot of this movie is just on the edge of talking about gender politics in the 2020s. And I wish it was more direct about that. I wish it was more interesting. Like, a lot of the problem here is that Bear, the male character in this movie, like, doesn't want to do anything. Like you said, to not be a nice guy,
right.
The worst thing that could happen is that she would say he did something that she didn't want, which, I understand where we are in 2020. Right. And it should be that way. Like, you shouldn't do things that a woman doesn't want. But I wish the movie was bolder in its approach to that dynamic, because I think it kind of gets to the edge of that and doesn't really tackle it. And it doesn't really tackle kind of the fundamental problem with male and female relations in the 2020s that I think is kind of at the heart of this thing. But the movie just kind of isn't interested in that. It's more interested in giving you this wild thrill ride. And it does deliver a wild thrill ride. But I wish it was a little more ambitious for what it is. That said, it's darn good fun if you're into this kind of thing. It gets grisly. I mean, it's a goopy, grisly horror movie.
There's a kill in this movie I don't think I've ever seen before. Really, it's really clever use of objects that are around you. Yeah.
But I do have some gripes we'll get to in spoilers. But for the most part, it's a thumbs up from me.
Boy, Jeff, I feel like our reviews align like 100% on this one, which is to say I had a blast with this one as well. And I want to start by saying that this movie is, in my opinion, a pretty remarkable achievement. The budget for this movie is about $1 million. It's already made $16 million in its opening weekend. And I think a trick that small budget movies pull off that is to their credit is when they feel like they are giving you but a glimpse of a broader world that is just out of frame that you don't see.
Yes.
My
and favorite thing.
As an example, like 10 Cloverfield Lane, another great small budget movie by a friend of the show, Dan Trachtenberg. There was what was that one with Elizabeth Moss and Mark Duplass? The One I Love, I think.
Yeah, such a great movie.
Right, which is another tiny movie with only a few actors, like only a few locations. Like, these are very tiny, tiny, tiny movies that hint at like, oh, there's this whole supernatural, sci-fi, whatever world happening. You don't see it, but it's out
the
there.
Invitation,
Yeah.
So I love 10 Cloverfield Lane, but that was still a Cloverfield movie. So like the ones that are really like sub 10 million very few people you recognize in them.
I'm pretty sure that 10
like
Cloverfield Lane was budget like $5 million, is my understanding.
Really?
So like,
Huh.
yeah.
I'd put Barbarians in that
Barbarian
club as well.
Yeah. So these are like really low budget, relatively low budget. I think Barbarian's like closer to 10 million, right? 5 to 10 million. Anyway,
I mean, 1 million is a crazy low budget.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it is so this movie Obsession does that. It does the thing where it's just a few people, it's like a handful of locations, and already you feel like, wow, there's like all this stuff going on in the world that's wild and out there that like we're only getting a glimpse of. What an accomplishment. I think it's amazing to be able to live in a world where I'm watching Curry Barker's TikToks, a few years ago, and then now he's launching an international film that millions of people will see, and I believe he's already shot his next film that sounds really interesting as well, and that people can just like go for, I don't know how important he thinks the TikToks were to his being able to land a movie deal, but like I imagine it wasn't nothing.
Yeah, the backrooms guy was just a dude, 19, 20-year-old dude who's now making an A24 film. So
yeah. And so it's astonishing to kind of see the speed with which that's happening now in this new media economy that we're in, right? Which is different than like the world that we came up in. And so
or maybe Hollywood is just desperate for new ideas. Desperate. There's a lot of desperation going on here.
Perhaps. So, horror is the one genre where this can happen. And it continues to happen. And
horror is one of the few genres outside of superhero films where like somebody can make a low budget movie and that movie makes $100 to $200 million, these days. And so it's a huge accomplishment. Jeff, going back to your review, I think you're right. This is a thrill ride, and it is just a lot of fun. And per what both of you have said, Indy Neverett, this is a star turn, like an incredible performance. That's like everyone's gonna know who she is after this, I think, and just amazing to watch. A couple of other filmmaking things I'll also praise. One is I think this movie uses shadows in a way that's really interesting. Oftentimes, the characters, and particularly Indy Neverett's character of Nikki, is like not fully lit, not like in shadow in like specific ways that and the movie's really, really out there with it. It's not afraid to be like, hey, we're not going to light this character at all, or we're going to light them in this specific way where you can't see anything.
There'll be a thing where you can like see the reflection in her eyes.
On the eyes,
so cool.
Really cool stuff.
And also like the horror of like focus too, like where somebody's really unfocused in the background, like anything that's unclear leads to fear,
Yeah. So just as a cinematic experience, I think it's a great time. If you love horror thrillers, if you love slasher movies, those kinds of movies, I think you'll have a great time watching Obsession. Having said all that, Jeff, I also kind of align with you in that, I mean, I think the best horror films to me are ones that transcend just being a genre exercise and becomes about, as you said, gender politics in the 2020 or the nature of love itself. And there is this movie does gesture at some of that. I think that particularly, a lot of people seem to resonate with the idea of Bear, the protagonist of the film, being potentially the true antagonist or the true villain. And like, there's something that the movie's trying to say about, as you said, Devindra, that this type of nice guy, right? What is this type of nice guy? And like, outwardly they might seem to be innocent, but actually they're doing some pretty despicable or reprehensible things.
I don't even know how that's even a question. Like everything bad because in this movie, and
let's get to it in spoilers
comes from him.
But so I think the movie is gesturing at some of that, but like I don't know that to me the movie really has anything sort of transcendently true to say about that topic personally. And in particular, I think the reason for that is because these characters, I think, are very thinly drawn. I think Bear and Nikki, you just don't really get to know very much about them. And the Bear specifically, I think, really only has 1 to 2 modes in this entire film. I think it's a fine performance, but like, I don't think that character is asked to do very much beyond the 1 to 2 modes. And the 1 to 2 modes are like really intense and require a lot, but like, I think as a result of the characters being pretty thinly drawn, the movie doesn't reach beyond the, hey, this is a really like fun experience, to like, wow, this movie, like these characters represent these like paradigms that are going to resonate, throughout the ages. Maybe it will, and maybe this is a incorrect reading, but like,
and I'd push back a little bit on that too, because like, yeah, Bear, the lead essentially has 2 modes, sure. So do many like young 20 somethings who their brains are not fully formed. They have not really discovered who they like. They don't have personalities really. Part of their personality is being afraid of human connection, and part of it is like it's your sense of like not even feeling like you deserve this. Like there is stuff going on there. And I do want to point out, I think the friend dynamic that they kind of bring up, his best bro, Cooper Tomlinson's character, that's really interesting. That is a really interesting dynamic of somebody who is both trying to support him and also trying to be like, hey man, maybe double think about, or think twice about how you're presenting yourself or what you're trying to say here. What this movie is really about is about like emotional truths, and how kind of not being able to say those things, like not being true to yourself, can kind of lead to more damage. So I was joking at the beginning, but also, folks, you can prevent so much heartache in your lives. And this is me after living through my high school years and my very uneventful college years. Tell people what you feel. It is a very simple thing that may not always go the way you want, but it at least leads to a conclusion, rather than you being a little slug of a person who's pining after somebody. Like at least you have something else. I think there's a lot going on here, even if on the surface it seems thinly sketched.
I think like my big issue with the movie, and again, like I don't expect many people will agree with this, is Indy Everett's character. Again, one of the best performances I've seen in the last year or several years. Just like a wonderful performance that I think everyone should enjoy. To me, I feel like what would have made this movie more impactful is if the behaviors that she started exhibiting after this whole wish thing went down were in some way tied to her character. Right, we're in like, as opposed to just now she's just acting like an unhinged person, which is kind of what the movie is.
I think we should get to spoilers, guys.
There's stuff in spoilers.
The issue is I just don't really know the character enough to understand like what the behaviors are. Like, are these an extension of her character? Are they just? But I think acting unhinged now.
That comes from the fact that this movie is told from Bear's perspective.
Yes,
and so we're supposed to not really know for a long stretch of the movie whether she's been captured by the wish, or she's just
that's true. That's true.
And in a sense,
pixie dream girl.
Right, you can never fully know another person. Like this is it's all kind of tied to this. There's stuff in spoilers, I'd say. Directly.
All right, let's get to spoilers. Spoilers for Obsession starting right now. That was a great point, Jeff, about how like, because of the structure of the movie is supposed to give us this sense of like ambiguity about the character, and you're supposed to be able to have this plausible deniability for some part of it for Bear,
right?
But then it goes away pretty definitively, I think. Yeah.
And I agree with you fundamentally that like that's a flaw of the movie, and I feel like I am in opposition to what Devindra thinks, because I think the biggest flaw of this movie is that Bear doesn't have any choices. Like the problem is that he makes a relatively innocent wish, a wish anybody could relate to. I wish this woman loved me.
Yeah, sure.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, he should have phrased it a little bit better.
He's just fucking around. He's like, he doesn't know he's in a Twilight Zone episode, you know?
He doesn't know he's in the weapons
knew
cinematic
they were in
universe.
Twilight Zone episodes.
Yeah.
That's
it
right.
would end up way better for them, right?
That's right.
Yeah. It would make life so much easier.
Advice to people: always assume you're in a Twilight Zone.
That's right, and then you'll be fine.
And you're fine.
In fact, that would make a lot of sense given where we are right now. So many things make sense if you just assume that.
But so he does something I think anybody would view as being innocent. It's like, I just want this girl to like me. Like, I just want her to love me more than anybody else. Like, we've all secretly thought that about somebody. Oh, I wish she loved me more than anything. Then it becomes clear that she is in a very particular kind of hell. And he calls customer service and he is told, you have one option: kill yourself. That's the only option he has.
Yeah.
I can totally understand somebody being like, well, that's not great. I don't want to do that.
He had choices before that.
Let him finish.
But if the movie had presented an out for Nikki that required Bear to give up something he wanted, if the circumstances had been such that you can end her torment, but she will hate you forever,
right?
And he still says, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to see if I can make this work. Then now I actually feel like there's some moral stance that the movie, we can understand that Bear is doing something that is selfish and reprehensible. But at no point does he legitimately is trying to get her out of this situation, and is told the only way to do that is to kill yourself.
He sure waits a while.
That fucking sucks. Like I gotta kill myself. So I can totally understand his position being, well, I'm gonna try to make this work because I don't want to commit suicide.
Well, Jeff, now I must, Devindra, I'll let you go first if you have a response. But I also
have a couple of responses.
Yeah, go ahead.
It takes him a while to call customer service. There are many things that happen, and they even have the whole his friends, I forget if that happens before the customer service scene or after, but the friends, like, basically when they force themselves into the party, the friends are like, we think something weird is going on here, and it kind of feels like you may be taking advantage of her in this precarious place. It is very clear to the audience she is not well. And before he even takes that customer service call, he's taking advantage of that situation of her still not feeling well, because it kind of works out in his situation. I see, like, it would be a different movie, Jeff, if your suggestion was there. Like, it just kind of changes the dynamic of the movie a little bit. This is the bleakest of, like, dark horror comedies. And the way people flippantly say, just kill yourself. Like, even the guy in the store kind of says that at the end. They kind of like lower the volume as he starts saying, but like, oh, you could always just kill yourself. You could always just end all this right here,
which he ends up doing.
Sure, but I'm saying
that's what he does.
He's had choices. He's had choices before that call, even before he knew the full extent of the situation. That call, by the way, to customer service broke my heart, because
it's awesome.
That is the interiority we get for Nikki's character, right? Is that she is screaming, screaming in hell. And that to me is just kind of wild. The idea,
but if he had the option to do something about that didn't involve murdering himself, and he still doesn't do it, then now we're in such a more interesting place, I think, for the movie.
I don't know if that's it's a different movie. I don't know if that would be more interesting. I think it's interesting when it's just like, well, you made this mess, you fucked. And that is what the movie is.
But he didn't know. He just did that innocently. Like, something has happened to him. He is not an agent of his own.
He did respond to those choices in not great ways before the customer. That's what I'm saying.
But the movie does a lot of effort to put him in a place of, maybe she's just really super into me. He doesn't want to take advantage of her if she's on a drug. She tells him she was on a drug. I think the movie does not go where I think you think it goes. It doesn't put him in a place of audience judging him. I think it's like,
no, I'm definitely judging him. People,
I'm going to put this out there, Jeff. Okay. I think you are leaving out a critical part of that call. So first of all, when he makes, I agree with you that there is a period of time when Bear's villainy is not 100% clear to the audience, right? Because it's like, oh, maybe she is just really into. I mean, all the signs point to she's not into him, but maybe she was really into him, and it just is magic. And why would this Willow thing make her infatuated? But then it becomes clear, like, actually something is really wrong. Like, she shouldn't be taping up the door to prevent me from going to work. She shouldn't be standing in place waiting for me and, like, shitting herself, like, all these things. Clearly, like, there's something beyond. Not only just, like, on a chemical level, but, like, literally perhaps something supernatural going on. That's, and then Jeff, he calls the customer service, which is very funny because the customer service sounds like it's just run by a guy.
Yeah. What's up, man? Yeah. You got customer service.
Very funny. And, but Jeff, the part you left out is, what is the question he asks first? It's not, can I cancel the wish? Because she's going through mental torment, probably. It's, hey, like the wish is good, but like, can I like tweak it a little bit? Can we like tune it a little bit, right?
He says, does she really like me?
So he is okay with her continued mental subjugation, but just not at this level of intensity.
He wants it to be real.
Sure.
That doesn't seem like evil. Like,
but up until then, like he was totally fine with kind of removing her agency to a certain degree. Like he knows that's happening.
He wants it to be legitimate. He wants her to actually like him.
Right.
And I find it hard to fault that from that character's perspective.
Totally true. 5 seconds before he broke the twig, he had that chance. Like
no, I don't think so. I think that we think he had that chance. She says, "Do you like me?" Because she's about to break his heart. We find that out retroactively later because she's fucking his best friend. She doesn't like him. We are explicitly told she tells Sarah, the other friend, that she put him in the friend zone. That he is completely not a mate potential
romantic partner. Yeah,
right. But we don't find that out until the end of the movie. Like that
makes it more screwed up. Yes, absolutely.
That makes it more screwed up retroactively. But from Bear's perspective, this is I think I want the movie to be what you guys are seeing. And I feel like the movie gets right up to the edge and it just is not willing to do that. It's not willing to make its character wholly unlikable, its main character. And I think that's a fault of the movie. And that's why I prefer something like Barbarian or something like Companion, because those movies take a stand and like actually put you inside of the woman's perspective and the horror she's experiencing. Everything is external and obviously she's in hell, but I think the movie is very sympathetic to Bear and very sympathetic to his moment to moment decision-making process. And ultimately at the end, he does sacrifice himself so she can be free.
It took a lot.
Yeah, a couple of additional thoughts, Jeff. Number one, there is that heartbreaking scene where she's asleep in bed, but like her other self is asleep, and then she's like talking to him while she's sleeping. Very creepy. Very creepy. And what is his response? Very sad. It's not hey, I have a lot of sympathy. I'm going to look into how to solve this. It's like Homer Simpson vanishing into the bushes. Yeah. Secondly, he only takes his life at the end after things have, like, for sure,
he has
escalated beyond his control, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Now, I agree with you.
You would take your life earlier, Dave?
I agree with you that I wish he had more choices, right? But like,
I wish he had been put in a position where he had to actually make a choice. He never is forced to make the guy is like, if you want her to be okay again, you have to die. That's not a choice.
That's one aspect of the movie. But as I was saying, he made plenty of choices before that. Is the thing. Like, here's what it is like, this movie is an exploration of a guy who is never like really manned up to say what he really feels. And now he's in this very extreme situation where everything is fucked up and he still can't quite have the spine to commit and say, actually, no, I realize you are very messed up right now and we cannot like continue. Like,
so what is he supposed to do?
But what if he can't do anything? Like,
that's exactly my point. Like, he can't do anything.
Well, he cannot continue to have sex with her when she is like zoned out, like that scene of her like really being into it. He has convinced himself that, she is into him to this point. There are definitely enough signs where he could have like tried to slow things down, or like, even if he doesn't have a choice but to kill himself, like he's making a lot of choices in this movie. I saw this movie in a crowded audience and he is doing things after the wish has gone off, after she has like put his dead cat in an altar, after she has like demonstrated that like she is not herself, and he's still like continuing along with the relationship to a certain degree, even if it kind of feels like he's forced to. He's still gaining some things from it. And to what you were saying earlier, Dave, she will harm herself and him. Get her help.
Okay.
That's kind of what you do. That's kind of, if you are in a situation where somebody is a danger to themselves or others, the best he could do is try to get her legitimate help. And
Well,
to what
Jeff,
you were saying earlier, Dave.
I agree with you that it is dramatically less like, first of all, just to be clear, Devindra, Jeff is talking not about just decisions that he's making, but more like what is a moral decision he can make that will like change the outcome of this person's life.
That's changing the outcome of the story, which is like one thing. And the movie makes a hard bargain there. You got to kill yourself.
Yeah,
sure,
that's
I
right.
get that.
That's right.
I
and
get
it's like,
that. But there are more choices you can make.
We know there's
that.
no psychotherapy she can achieve that will help her. It's impossible.
Yeah. But he doesn't try. He does not try.
Well, he goes to the source of what he thinks the problem is, which is the wishing willow.
And he goes to the source and is like, "Hey guys, the magic that's taken away her agency, not quite working well. I still want her agency gone, but you know, can we dial it back a little?"
Devindra, I'm the one that pointed that out. That's bad. So I agree with both of you, because on the one hand, I think that Jeff is right that it does suck that he doesn't have many moral decisions that he can legitimately make in the course of this film. But I agree with Devindra in the sense that I do think it is very easy to read him as the villain in this movie. Like
those are moral choices. Those are moral choices.
The thing is, even after he makes the wish, like yes, let's say the wish is an innocent mistake, he still behaves in ways that are arguably villainous, arguably suboptimal, even after it's become like clear that like something is really wrong here. And I think there is a moral message in that. The moral message I take away, by the way, is that like in some ways infatuation is a form of selfishness, or you know, like
obsession.
It's like a form of some violence that's inflicted on a person if they're like led into it in a specific way. And you know, that's like one. But I would say that I don't think that the movie lands that very hard because of some of the storytelling issues that we've discussed.
Let me put it a different way. I think what I prefer in a movie like this is when it puts me, the viewer, in a more uncomfortable position of asking myself, well, what would you do?
Right.
And this movie, there is no option.
Right.
There is no option. Other than murder yourself. Like there's no option to do the right thing. Like it's more interesting if there is a do the right thing option, but he chooses not to do it, than there is of just no options at all. That's my position.
Sure.
I mean, no option for the ultimate culmination of the narrative. Yes. This character has had many options and many choices between that, as I've kind of laid out. And what it is kind of so, I guess, jarring, like what is so frustrating about this character is like he's doing the same thing he was doing before. He's just not manning up to make a choice and make a moral stand on his own unless he's being told to. He's just responding to the world around him rather than being like, oh shit, I gotta at least try to get her some help. I probably shouldn't continue with this relationship in this form. Like all those are choices he could make that could reveal something about this character. And to what you were saying, Dave, about like the sort of like mania that Nikki's character presents, it felt to me more like that is a completely different thing. It is a possession. It is not a relation to who she is actually. It is practically a demon possessing her body and trying to act like a real person. It's like the bug man from Men in Black to a certain degree. Like it's her uncomfortable laughter and stuff like that. So that's kind of what I read into it. I would have loved to see more from Nikki's perspective. But what the movie is a damning framing of this guy, this nice guy mentality. And I think the focus on that is sharp. Like it is sharp. Like this guy, if he was stronger, if he could like stand up for himself and maybe take care of other people a little more, like he could have at least tried. Maybe his ultimate solution is like he had to kill himself or something. But there are certainly things he could have done before that too.
I have another question for you guys. And it regards the very, very, very end of the movie.
Yeah.
Because I think
I was about to get to that. Yeah.
It landed oddly on me. Maybe I missed something, but you know, the shit has hit the fan. Everybody is dead. She's screaming. He dies. So she's, you know, back to being herself. And then the camera pans to yet another One Wish Willow that has been snapped.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, we're going to get her. Like I even when it went to black, I'm like, oh, we're going to hear her voice say, I wish none of this happened or something.
They already snapped it.
She already snapped it. So
the demon version.
But does that wish, has that wish been wished?
It has occurred. It has occurred.
It has
occurred. What
and
happened at the end is he brings her the one wish willow because he's like, I want to convince you to like wish that none of this ever happened,
because
or
I'm
that
out of wishes.
Yeah, or that, yeah, because I'm out of wishes, or that like you don't love me anymore, or whatever.
Right.
But then before he can do that, he goes in the bathroom, swallows a bunch of sleeping pills, and then while he's in the bathroom, he hears the snap of the
That's
wish
right.
willow, right?
But what's that wish?
And that wish is that he would love her in the same way that she loves him.
That's the ending.
That's it. So that's why he exits the bathroom in a very serene state, and
He
they
is
start
loving
and
her.
they start making out.
Because she's the fucked up demon who only cares about him loving her.
That's right. That's right.
And the framing of that whole situation is like, oh, the lovebirds finally get together as we want in every romantic comedy. It's so fucked up. It's one of the things I love about this movie. Like,
I will say, I really did like I think the ending is pretty great. You know, the part about the guy getting $1 billion falling out of nowhere in particular is very strange.
I wanted that to kill him. I wanted that to. I was like, oh yeah, he's going to be buried by the money, and it's like another example of be careful what you wish for. But that didn't happen.
It could have been that.
No, he gets shot in the
head.
Other
thing.
Yeah, he gets shot in the head.
But I think what is clear from this movie early on is that Nikki is screwed. Nikki is kind of screwed beyond belief. Even if he saves her, even if he did the noble thing earlier and killed himself so that she could be out of pain, she's in a deeply fucked up situation where people saw her do crazy things at parties, like depending on how far, at what point
she's going to be tried for multiple murders.
Yeah.
Now her life is ruined. Her life is ruined. She is going to be mentally, hurt or damaged forever. It is such a fucked up ending, but you could kind of see the movie getting us there. Even if she survives, there's really no real escape for her. And it's just heartbreaking.
Yeah, I really like the ending of, she like, even when the wish has been undone, it's not like everything is hunky-dory after that. And the movie, I think, fully acknowledges this, in how she behaves after she is released from her trance. So, pretty
Can
bold
we talk
ending.
about just like great scenes from this movie? The conversation with Sarah in the car. What a great flipping of tones of like, oh, this is a great rom-com type of scene, or like a teen drama where it's like, oh, these characters are really relating and they care for each other, and she's going to support him and he's going to support her, and their emotional connection gets closer. Wham! Out comes the window, face to brick, on the steering wheel, repeatedly. And then the movie is like, oh, we think we're done. She's dead. Leave her alone. Close up on the smash.
Yeah, that was nice. I will say, Devindra, I'm a little jaded, I think, because literally as that scene is unfolding, I'm literally in my head. I'm
from
like,
that camera angle.
Never
trust that camera angle.
Everybody's thinking that, but that's the fun of it. Is we know that she's coming.
Yes.
You just don't know she's going to do that.
Yeah. Fair enough.
And then it doesn't just top it there. By the time they get to the final scene, that the corpse is there, nude in his bedroom, just to, like the icing on the cake. Like, good God, so fucked up. I love these sort of like him running into the magic store or the collectible store right after that. By the way, I guess they're open early because they were talking at like 3 a.m. right? So it's just open super early.
Yeah, the 7 a.m. 7 a.m. open for that show.
Well, I love how the dude there knows exactly what he's talking about.
He knows what's going on. What was his wish? I guess I want to run a vaguely successful collectible store for the rest of my life and not have to worry about profit. That's my wish. But the twist is you have to sell these things that will ruin people's lives, I guess.
If anybody has played Dungeons and Dragons, there's a very high level spell in Dungeons and Dragons called Wish. And the implicit use of that is that the dungeon master is supposed to make it not what you think. So there's always I love that this movie is basically that game of however you phrase it, I'm going to try to find the loopiest of loopholes to fuck you. And I wished it had leaned into that a little bit more, and we had known about other people's wishes and seen how it had been. Like I said it this way, I said I wanted to have a successful business, and now he like can't leave the business for or whatever it is. I wish it had been more of that because that's fun. Like the $1 billion, I want $1 billion. Okay, well you're going to be buried by it. That's the fun I think of the be careful what you wish for kind of game.
I do want to give a shout out to one of my favorite creators on YouTube called Chris and Jack. And they have created a video called The Perfect Wish to Outsmart a Genie. The whole premise of which is a guy is trying to make a genie wish with no loopholes so that the genie can't screw him on it.
Ironclad.
Very, very funny. Very, very funny. So Anyway.
There's a bunch of really wonderful scenes. I mean, I think so much of the beginning of this movie, them in the car, like all the just sort of naturalistic relationship stuff is done so well in this movie. I also the whole scene at the party is incredible. It's so disturbing.
Yes, very good.
Like kiss the person to your left, and then her
her behavior after is so good.
It's so good. It's all so good. And then retroactively thinking that the dude whose party it is was stooping her the whole time, and like, what's up with the girl that I thought liked me? Like, it's
but also retroactively going back to the very first scene of the movie where he's essentially telling Bear, do not do this.
Yeah.
Not just because he's screwing her, but also she doesn't like you the way you think, buddy.
Yeah.
And it's actually, there's something really interesting about that dynamic because he doesn't seem to dislike Bear. Like he likes Bear. They're bros. He's just, it ended up that he's hooking up with the girl that he also likes. And that kind of happens. That's life in college. That's life in your 20s. Unfortunately, if you have close friend groups, that always happens. That whole situation is just kind of like, it felt very real to me. Like, that's why I kind of think the friend, like the way they drew the friendships are kind of interesting. Also, Andy Richter in this movie gets a couple scenes to be fun. Like the scene with him and the girl Sarah reading her college acceptance and like she's rejected again. He's like, oh well, you'll get into one. Back to work. Back to work. Like immediate. They're funny bits there. More of like the Conan universe being in horror thrillers. I guess that's what we need in the world.
All right, folks. Well, I think we're all fans of this movie to varying degrees, despite our qualms with it, and definitely think you should check it out if you're looking for a great time at the theater. So, at the end of the day, it is really impressive that Curry Barker made a movie. Thank you so much for watching this video of the Filmcast. Check out these other videos that we have available, and be sure to hit like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to get other videos from us in the future.
You can also go to thefilmcast.com to catch all of our audio podcast versions of all of our episodes.
And support this podcast at patreon.com/filmpodcast, where you can sign up for ad-free episodes and exclusive After Darks.
Thanks so much to everyone who makes the Filmcast possible.